If you've been tracking the price of Tezos over the past 6 months, its steady ascent will no doubt have piqued your interest. Indeed, until the recent COVID-inspired crash, it was one of the best performing altcoins. However, price appreciation is only one of the reasons as to why you should be holding Tezos. Tezos allows users to get steady, passive income through the use of staking or baking. So, what is this exactly, and how do you do it? My name is Guy, and in this video I'm going to be answering just that. I will be looking at all the ways you can stake Tezos, providing a step-by-step guide for doing each, and examining the pros and cons of the different approaches. Finally, you'll want to watch till the very end if you want some top tips when it comes to staking your Tezos and banking that extra XTZ. Just to clear a few things up before diving in. Guy is a crypto guru, but not a financial advisor. Everything I say is purely for educational purposes, and you should always be aware of the risks that come with crypto staking. And then, if you are new to the bureau, bonjour and welcome to my crypto familia. I release videos like this regularly, so be sure to hit up that subscribe button and turn on them notifications. Get them while they're hot. All set? Right, let's make like a baker and get to the staking. Now, before I get going on how you can stake Tezos, I just want to give you a short overview of how staking works here. If you prefer to jump right ahead into the guides, then feel free to skip ahead with the timestamps that I provided below. Tezos is a self-amending blockchain and governance protocol. It uses a proof-of-stake consensus mechanism called Liquid Proof of Stake, or LPoS. This is pretty similar to the likes of Delegated Proof of Stake, apart from some distinct differences. For example, at Tezos, those who produce the blocks are called the bakers. You'll also have something called an endorser, which are 32 randomly selected bakers which verify the last blocks. These bakers also fulfill an important governance component on the protocol, something that I'll touch on later. When it comes to the block rewards on the protocol, they're adjusted so that the XTZ supply grows at roughly 5.5% every year. So, the block rewards or the staking return will dynamically adjust based on how much is staked. Now, at Tezos, in order to qualify as a baker, you need to hold at least 8,000 XTZ in your wallet, and you have to have run a full node. Of course, this may be out of reach of many people. This is where it shares the similarities with Delegated Proof of Stake. You can delegate your XTZ over to someone else who is running a baking client. They will run the node for you and pay you a certain return less a fee. This further opens up the Tezos blockchain to those that do not have the technical wherewithal to spin up their own nodes. Anyway, that is just the overview of baking at Tezos. I only just scratched the surface, so if you'd like the full overview, be sure to check out my Tezos review right here. The first staking option I have for you is perhaps the easiest out there. This is staking your XTZ through the use of an exchange service. Basically, if you hold your Tezos on an exchange, then you can enable the staking on said exchange and you will earn the staking returns less a certain fee. In this case, the exchanges are acting as the delegates that will stake the coins for you. However, this is not delegation in the traditional sense, as all that's really happening is that the exchange is staking coins that they have control over. They hold the keys. Anyways, perhaps the most well-known exchange option for staking your Tezos is through Coinbase. This can be done right in the financial services settings in your account. Simply toggling the reward setting over here and you will start earning XTZ. It's worth pointing out though that this service is only available to US citizens, ex-New York, or those in the Netherlands. So, there is clearly a large swathe of users that would like another option, and that is where Binance staking comes in. In fact, Binance allows for staking a plethora of other coins. You can see the full list over here. Staking here is as easy as funding a Tezos wallet. That's it. Given that Binance runs a delegate, they allocate the staking returns from this to those users who have balances there. Do take note of a few things though. You have to have a minimum of 1 XTZ to stake, pretty low bar, and you have to wait at least 24 hours before your new balance is accounted for. Once that is done, you can earn those sweet, sweet staking returns. There are also a few other things to note here. Staking returns are not set in stone as mentioned before. Currently, Binance is offering about 6.5%, while Coinbase is offering 5%. Why the difference, you ask? Well, someone is charging fees, if you know what I mean. Of course, I don't know about how long Binance will offer their delegation and staking services for free. When they first launched it, they said, quote, "Upon launch, Binance will not be charging a fee on any staking operations." So, the operative word there is upon launch. This perhaps leaves the door open to changing them in the future. Although for now, you'll want to bake hay while the sun is shining, if you'll pardon the pun. Now, although this is a simple way to stake your Tezos, often simplicity does come with a cost. The primary concern should be that you do not control your keys. Now, I know that these exchanges are perhaps some of the safest out there, but nothing is ever guaranteed. Hackers are a pretty determined bunch, and these exchanges are no doubt high-value targets. No one can say that a severe hack is outside the realm of possibility. Indeed, Binance has been hacked before, although they fully covered the hack. Then, of course, you have that cost of staking. For those users in the US who can't use Binance, they are paying Coinbase a pretty sizable fee to stake for them. Is that really worth it when you can delegate yourself and get a much higher reward? It really depends on your own personal preferences, but if you are considering delegating yourself, this is what this video is for. Now, as mentioned, solo staking requires a minimum of 8,000 XTZ. You'll also have to run a full node that has the Baker and endorser client installed. Of course, at current prices, that is a pretty sizable chunk of change. Not to worry though, as that is where the delegation component comes in. Here, the barrier to entry is pretty damn low, and all you need is a few Tezos and a compatible wallet. There are a number of wallets that you can use, really. There is Galleon, Tezbox, Zengo, and a host of others. However, perhaps one of the safest and most secure ways to do this is with a hardware wallet like a Ledger or Trezor. Why? Well, because with these devices, your private keys are never exposed to the internet. They never leave the device and hence are that much more secure than other options which save the private keys on a desktop or mobile device with internet connectivity. I explain this all in my video on the top crypto wallets, which you can check out right here if you're interested. Anyways, given that I keep my XTZ on a Ledger device, I will be delegating from there. I was also pretty damn impressed with how relatively simple the Ledger staking feature for Tezos is. Unlike most of the other coins that I've staked from a Ledger, with Tezos you can stake using Ledger Live. So you don't have to install any other wallets that interact with the staking mechanism. So then, let's take a look at the process for staking on a Ledger, shall we? Now, I assume that most of you will already have set up your Ledger device and installed Ledger Live. If you haven't, I've linked to some handy guides below that will take you through the process. The first thing that you'll want to do is install the Trezor app on the device itself. So, you can open up Ledger Live and head on over to the Manager section. You'll need to unlock your device before you can make changes to the apps there. This is where you can manage all of the apps on your device. I want to install the Tezos device, so I will search for that right here. Once I have that, I will hit Install and it should start the process. Now, I'm doing this on a Nano X device, which means that I have quite a lot of space to install this. However, if you're using the Nano S, then you may be constrained, which will mean that you'll have to uninstall another app. Of course, everything remains securely on the device, but it is just to make space for Tezos. Anyways, once that is installed, you'll see the new app on the Ledger device over here. Once you're satisfied, you'll want to install the Ledger Live app in order to manage your Tezos and start staking it. So, I head on over to Accounts and I hit Add Account. Here I will search for the asset I want, which in this case is Tezos. On the next step, I'll need to open the Tezos app on my Ledger device, so let me do that now. Once that's synchronized, then I can name the account. How about this? I hit Add Account and it is now installed on my Ledger Live program. Here is the empty Tezos account that is ready to receive some Tezos. So let me hit Receive. This will take us through the process of generating a wallet address. Pretty simple for anyone who has done it with another Ledger Live account. I'll need to have the Tezos app open on the device, and I will need to make sure that the deposit address generated on screen is the same as the one that's being presented in the device. Now that I have my deposit address, I'm ready to send XTZ to my wallet. In this case, I already have some Tezos that I bought on Kraken in order to demonstrate this. If you want to get your hands on some Tezos over there, then I have a sign up link for you in the description. This will go a long way to supporting the channel. Anyways, I'll need to send it to this new wallet that I've created. Let me quickly copy this address and head on over to my Kraken account. I'm going to be withdrawing to this address, so I hit Withdraw. You'll need to confirm the withdrawal and then Kraken will process it. Give it about 5 to 10 minutes before it arrives in your Ledger account. Once that's done, the funds should arrive into my Ledger Live account and you will see it reflected in your balance. Now I'm ready to start delegating my XTZ and earning those staking rewards. As you can see from this overview here, the funds will remain in your account the whole time. You can withdraw them when you want and there's no risk of anyone accessing the funds on the device. Really, the only risk here is that I don't get all the rewards that are promised to me. And I can avoid that by choosing the right validator, which is exactly what happens next. When you're in the delegation screen, you'll have the overview of the amount that you'd like to stake as well as the delegator which you will be choosing. Ledger chooses a random validator, although you will want to be a bit more discerning around the validator that you choose. I can see the list of all the validators by hitting Select here. So, which validator should you choose? Well, there are a number of criteria that I usually look at. These include yield, fees, uptime record, amount staked, and reputation. The first three of those are pretty standard. Generally, you'll want to take those that have the highest yield, the lowest fees, and the best uptime record. Some may also want to consider other requirements set by the baker like minimum staking amount and minimum payouts. Numbers 4 and 5 on that list are a bit trickier. Choosing a validator with a large percentage of total staked is generally a good idea, although it could lead to more centralization. Also, the larger bakers will tend to ask for a higher fee, given their reputation and size. And judging that reputation is also sometimes subjective. It's kind of like choosing an exchange. Make sure that they have a proper website, established user base, and have not been blacklisted. I like to use this handy website that has a list of all the bakers as well as their statistics and requirements. You can see those that have the best ratings and those that have been blacklisted. Oh, now, if any of this is unclear to you, please feel free to fire me your questions in the comments and I'll try to get back to you ASAP. Anyways, from my research, I'm going to go with Everstake. No minimum delegation, no minimum payout amount, strong uptime stats, and established track record. Sure, the yield may not be the highest, but it's a trade-off. Now that I've chosen Everstake, I hit Continue, and it will prompt me to confirm the delegation on my Ledger device, as well as the fee, addresses, and storage limit. Once I've hit Accept, the delegation is sent and I can start earning those staking returns. Of course, it will take some time before you start earning your XTZ. This is because XTZ rewards mature after 7 cycles, which is about 5 weeks. After this, you should receive rewards about once every 3 days. Okay, so you know how to quickly delegate on an exchange or manually delegate through your ledger. What happens if you wanted to go solo? What happens if you wanted all of those staking returns for yourself and you wanted to be a more significant part of the Tezos ecosystem? Well, this would be solo baking, and it would require you to spin up your own Tezos node. And as mentioned, you have to have a minimum of 8,000 XTZ to run this baking node. While obtaining the minimum required funds is straightforward, albeit costly, setting up your own node is a bit more involved. Ideally, you'll be reasonably proficient in using command line tools. This is because you'll be using the command line interface of the Tezos core client. Given that you'll be running a full node, you'll also have to download the entire blockchain, which could take up to a week. Not only that, but you'll also want to make sure that you're using a machine that is connected to the internet 24/7 and has a stable connection. Why is this, you ask? Well, downtime of the node could impact on your returns down the line. Also, given that you'll be downloading the entire chain, you'll want to have quite a bit of storage space on the machine. Current estimates are about 100 gigabytes. When all of that is said and done, you'll run the baker and endorser on the machine and leave said machine online in the process. Now, I'm not going to go through the process of doing this as we just don't have the time. I've linked to some handy resources below that take you through all the steps. I actually set up my own baker last year and it was quite laborious, albeit pretty easy to replicate. But is solo baking even worth it? Well, the benefits of it are that you get that full staking reward as well as helping to keep Tezos decentralized. The more nodes on the network, the more decentralized and democratic. It's also the ideal outcome for a governance-based protocol like Tezos. Are you willing to forego the added staking reward of solo baking to avoid this rigmarole of spinning up your own node? Are you that concerned about decentralization at this stage that you want to run your own node? Also, can you afford 8,000 Tezos? These are questions that only you can answer. And that is my overview and guide to Tezos staking. I'm going to leave you with a few of my final thoughts now. As you can no doubt tell, I'm quite a fan of Tezos. I have also held it in my portfolio since the ICO. And I've been actively delegating and staking my XTZ since the mainnet went live. It's great to know that there is a top altcoin in my portfolio that is earning me a decent return on top of all the potential price appreciation. I also love the fact that staking XTZ has been made so damn simple. For the complete beginners, exchange staking drives demand for Tezos. For those who hodl in their portfolio, Ledger has made it a piece of pie to securely delegate while keeping them keys cold. And although solo staking is a lot more complicated, it's still at least a possibility. This is in contrast to the likes of mining Bitcoin, which is only really possible now with some pretty advanced machinery and expertise. And every single additional node is a win for decentralization. You don't want it to end up being like Bitcoin mining, which is overwhelmingly controlled by a small percentage of a very powerful few. That is the antithesis of what Satoshi will have wanted. And that sums up my Tezos staking overview. Of course, nothing is complete without some feedback from you guys, my loyal subscribers. Do you have any questions for me? Are there any other staking coins you want an overview of? Also, if you guys dig this video, then hit them likes and drop a subscribe. My next video is baking in the Coin Bureau oven as we speak. Just one more thing I need to say. If you enjoyed that video, then you'll love my weekly newsletter. It's basically my take on all the important trends and topics that may have flown under your radar. I also take a look at some really interesting projects and coins that you just can't afford to ignore. Might that be of interest? Well, quickly head on over to the description. I've linked to my sign-up form over there. All you need to do is enter your email and hit the submit button. That's it. You're now all set and ready to receive my next email. And I will be seeing you very soon.